The following game I'm going to show you is a Karpov's shortest loss. It's very instructive, especially like when you're starting. I'm going to go into detail about stuff, especially at the beginning, which might seem not very important, but it's very important for decision making, especially in a scenario like this. So Karpov is playing Christiansen, is playing black, and Christiansen is white. And one of the lessons that you can take away from this game is the importance of tactical awareness and knowing when your pieces are loose. So there's a principle which you adopt as a chess player as you go, and it's the principle of loose and hanging pieces. You learn to never have your pieces not protected at any given time, whether they are being attacked or not. And you'll see how this plays out here. So the game starts with d4 by Christiansen, and Karpov goes knight f6. Christiansen goes c4. Now, I just need to state that in chess, normally when you play d4, your next aim is, if you can, play e4. That's why you get someone playing knight f6. You notice that also other openings like d5 prevent the same idea. If you are playing e4, you see black players playing e5 or playing c5 to prevent you from pushing this pawn to d4. It follows some classical concepts that when you play one move d4, you're trying to play e4, so black prevents it. So you see a continuing theme where white secretly is trying to push e4 and black is busy preventing it. So here, for instance, white has the option of playing knight c3 to push e4, and black will play bishop b4 to undermine, by pinning this knight, the control of the square e4. But this Queen's Indian defense is much more subtle than that. Black wants to put a bishop on g2, so that in the long run white, in the long run you'll be able to fight for this diagonal and the square e4. Black immediately contests it, and a3. He wants to play knight to c3, but he knows that after knight c3 there's this bishop e4 idea, and still he doesn't have control of e4. So by playing a3 in advance, he makes sure that when he gets the knight on c3, e4 is assured. And this is why d4 is a much more difficult opening to recommend for beginners, because there's so many hidden issues happening in the game that would be very hard to kind of expect a beginner to understand all that. Whereas with e4, there's direct combat of pieces, and a beginner will learn more about the power of pieces and how to attack that way. And then only later on you introduce them to d4. So after a3, bishop a6, a very nice move. So now if you can just play knight c3 because c4 is protected, and if you do what white did here, queen c2, it means d4 now is not protected anymore. And although you're protecting e4, the bishop goes back, covers e4. So you see that now black has got two pieces controlling the square and white is one, so he still can push e4, but now he plays knight c3 to play e4. So now black has got two choices. He chooses a much more dynamic one, c5. He could play d5 here, just controlling the square, although this would be maybe result in a static position. After take, it's a bit passive for black. c5 keeps things interesting. The queen was moved from d4. So now, yes, you can get e4, but what we'll do is we'll remove d4. That's really the idea. So now he goes e4. Black gets rid of one of the central pawns. And after knight d4, he goes knight c6. Immediately challenging this unprotected piece on d4. Take. It is still a bit unstable to put the bishop here to protect the knight, because now black probably could get a move like this in with tempo, and still you have to do something about this knight. So he decides to take, and after bishop c6, white goes bishop f4. Bishop f4 follows the principle of maximum activity. On f4, the bishop is doing as much as it can. It controls the board in this direction, controls the board in this direction, controls this aspect, controls that aspect also. So the bishop is nicely pegged, and for some reason this irritated Karpov, and he violated one of the simple opening principles, which is that you must not move the same piece twice early in the game. So here he played knight to h5, and the problem with knight h5 is that knights tend to do terrible on the edge of the board, and it's not protected. So Christiansen just goes bishop e3, and now Karpov forgets in a way that he's violated one principle and violates another principle with bishop d6. At this point, I want you to pause the video and see if you can pinpoint what's wrong with this move bishop d6. I will state that, okay, on d6 the bishop again is not protected, and that's one of the underlying issues behind this move bishop d6. So if you really want to try and apply yourself, see what the former world champion missed at this point by playing bishop d6. I assume you have paused the video and looked at the position. The thing that Karpov missed was that the bishop d6 is not protected and knight on h5 is not protected. I mean, on a good day, Karpov would have seen this without a question. And what he failed to see was this backward move queen d1, which would attack d6 and attack h5. And there's no way of saving both pieces. And here Karpov just resigned. Very instructive game, and very comforting to know that no one is immune to these tactical mistakes, and maybe hopefully it teaches you something for your own chess. Thank you. If you like the video, please click follow and help us grow this channel. We enjoy doing what we do. Okay, bye.